Next item on the agenda, and be patient with us, this isn't what we do for a living. Consider adopting a resolution establishing a district-wide temporary moratorium on the acceptance and the processing of new non-exempt drilling, operating, and transport permit applications or applications to amend existing non-exempt drilling, operating, and transport permits. I do know we have a couple of comments. All right. Going down the list, and I would remind, we can't, as a board, we can't comment or respond to your comments. Is that correct?
Well, generally speaking, we're not supposed to deliberate items that aren't on the agenda. This is on the agenda. So if there are questions, we'll do our best to answer whatever questions there are.
Okay. But we can respond to a question.
During normal public comment, we bring up items that aren't on the agenda.
Okay.
And we cannot respond to items that aren't on the agenda because that would be deliberation of an item that's not on the agenda. You can discuss whether or not to put it on a future agenda, but that's it. We're not talking about a specific agenda item.
We're learning, fellas. Thank you. Ed McCarthy.
Good morning, Mr. Do you want me to come to the microphone?
I think this is good.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. My name is Ed McCarthy. I'm an attorney from Austin, Texas. I'm here on behalf of one of your permittees, the Evangeline Laguna LP Group. They have a permit to authorize this production of a little over 28,000 acre feet a year. That production permit includes 2 drilling permits. This was a project that envisioned drilling multiple bore wells and getting a transport permit to work with the regional water provider here in the coastal bend of the city of Corpus Christi. I have on Tuesday sent to your general counsel and general manager a letter on behalf of my clients. You should have hard copies in front of you. In that letter, I explained that this concept of a moratorium by a district like yourself, which is a legislatively created special purpose district, is not an authorized action. You are limited as a legislatively created body to exercise those powers and those authorities that have been expressly or necessarily impliedly granted to you by the legislature. There is nothing in your enabling legislation or in Chapter 36 of the Texas Water Code that authorizes groundwater districts to adopt a moratorium. So I would encourage you not to pass the resolution and not to do so. If you are going to exercise that power and adopt a moratorium anyway, I want to encourage you to realize that moratorium is something that should be done by rulemaking, not by resolution. And there's been none of the processes required for rulemaking to be followed at this time in this matter. So you would need to go back and propose a rule regarding a moratorium, publish it for 20 days, and then conduct a public hearing on it. And this matter is not even a public hearing this morning. This is just a discussion. Finally, to the extent that you do adopt a moratorium, again, my client has existing permits with a well-noticed, well-published plan to move forward, requiring additional permits in this process. Under those circumstances, Chapter 245 of the Local Government Code requires that you consider any additional permits part of the same project, process them, and proceed, even if you adopt a moratorium. Finally, as your general counsel and general manager are aware, or they may not be because it was late last night before I left town, I emailed copies of applications for a transport permit and 22 additional drilling permits to the district last night. And this morning I presented Mr. Stewart with hard copies of those applications together with checks and payment of all of the required fees. So those applications are currently on file and whether you've adopted a moratorium or not should be processed and acted upon by the district at the appropriate time. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Okay, the next one up here would be Peter Zanoni. There it is.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm Peter Zanoni, the city manager for the city of Corpus Christi. And I want to speak to this morning on how this water project benefits the region. And so while I am representing the city of Corpus Christi and Corpus Christi Water, which Nick Winkleman, our operating director, is here, chief operating officer, while we're here representing the city, this project and our water system is a regional water system. And so we provide water to 7 different counties. Over 500,000 people every day rely on the city of Corpus Christi and Corpus Christi Water. That includes residential accounts, commercial accounts, and industrial accounts. And so the Evangeline Water Project is one that has been contemplated for, I think, 4 decades. Some of our engineers that still work for us on a contract basis know this. And the Mary Roads pipeline, that is a 100-mile pipeline, was purposely designed and built to be right at the edge of the Wellwood property, because even then, when Mary Roads was built, it was contemplated that the Evangeline Laguna water would be put into the Mary Roads pipeline, sent just a little bit into Nueces County, treated, and then brought back across these 7 counties. And so that's the message today, is that this is not a Corpus Christi water project. We're not going to take this water and just use it in the city. All of our water that comes from two very distinct regions, the western region of Nueces County and another county up there. And then the east, all of that water comes here to our treatment plant that is used across 7 counties, including this very important county, San Patricio County. And so just to give you some numbers to think about today, we treat or have raw water that comes into this county at the rate of 40 million gallons a day. That's what comes into San Patricio County. 40 million gallons a day of water from 3 different counties, none of which is San Patricio. And so Nueces County, Jackson County, and Matagorda County, that's where the water sources are today that supply this county with 40 million gallons of water. And so we do have a nice graphic. I don't think we have it here with us this morning, but I think it's on our website that kind of shows this, how the water comes in, barely into Nueces County, then comes back out to Brian Williams and San Patricio Water District, and then services us all in this region. One final note is that a lot of the recent growth in this community in terms of governmental schools, other institutions, is because of the tax base that is being created by large industrial partners who are really fueling a lot of services in this community. If you look at Gregory Portland School District, if you look at the city of Portland, if you look at even here in Sinton, even though Sinton has their own water system, a lot of the tax base that is coming into our community and uplifting the community with new facilities, new courthouses, new schools, new indoor football practice facilities, that's coming from the tax base that relies on Corpus Christi water. And so the final note is that you all know we're in an extreme drought, probably will be the drought of record. And on top of that, we really need to diversify our water system. That's something Nick and I are working on. So even if we didn't have a drought of record, we would probably be working on this project because we need diversification. Relying on surface water from the west and the east is not a good business practice. And so having groundwater as an option, not to use every day, but so we can use it to supply all customers, is something we're working on. So those are the messages this morning. I want to thank you for your time, and we'll be working with you more. Sure.
How many million did you say comes back into San Patricio?
40 million every day. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next up, Nick Wickerman. I should have brought my glasses.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Nick Winkleman, Chief Operating Officer, Corpus Christi Water. First, I want to thank all of you. We know how hard your job is and how difficult it can be, especially in today's environment. We understand that, so thank you for that. A couple of things I want to just reiterate and maybe take a little further is the Corpus Christi Water as a regional water provider currently relies on solely surface water. And we know for long-term sustainability, we need to have a diversified water supply portfolio. What does that look like? It looks like surface water, seawater, and groundwater. And the reason for that is so that we can properly manage each of those supplies, and we can utilize them as needed. Currently, we're in what's going to be a historic drought. In our watershed, we haven't had really significant or measurable rainfall for 4.5 years in our western watershed. That's a big deal. So what we need to do is diversify that water supply portfolio so in times like this, we can utilize groundwater and seawater and rely less on surface water. When the reservoirs are full, we would cut back on groundwater and rely more on the surface water and the seawater. A point I would definitely like to make is our surface water sources are the most cost efficient for us. So to be good stewards for all of our ratepayers, which is approximately 500,000 people, when those supplies are flush with water, we would absolutely utilize them and cut back on our other sources. So that's very key. We talk about that a lot, diversifying our water supply portfolio. The next thing I want to talk about is any asset that the city has. Our goal and with the city manager's backing is to manage them responsibly and long-term. How does that look like in San Patricio County? First, let's start with the design of those assets or wells, right? We want to design those wells so that they are not in a position to impact neighboring or area wells, particularly any livestock or residential wells and also municipal wells, such as the City of Sinton or the St. Paul Water Supply Corporation. So how do we do that? We typically would case off those upper formations and do our best to ensure that we're pulling water from areas of the Gulf Coast aquifer that are not being utilized by residential and livestock wells. I do want to point out, the City of Sinton, they are targeting similar formations as our well field would. So we're working close with them. We continue to work with them on an interlocal agreement. That interlocal agreement would provide an interconnect to the City of Sinton at our cost, and it would to provide raw water. And when would we provide raw water? Is for any instance, if our well field would affect their wells, we would provide water to them at no cost. Or if the City of Sinton well field, if they had mechanical problems with their pumps, we all know motors go out, there's lightning strikes, there's other issues. The City of Corpus Christi would provide water to them for a period of time at no cost so that they can get those issues resolved. And again, that infrastructure, the cost of the infrastructure and the connection would totally be borne by Corpus Christi Water. And the same kind of agreement has been proposed with the St. Paul Water Supply Corporation. With that, we're doing our best to look out for the surrounding areas that rely on the Gulf Coast aquifer. We want to protect them because we want the resource to last for everyone, including us in our water supply strategy for a long, long time. And the last thing I want to really mention is water is personal. We know that, we get it, it's personal to me. We live it every day. So what we want to do is any area residents, landowners, ranch owners, who would like the City of Corpus Christi Water to measure their water levels periodically and take water quality samples from their wells, we would do it at free of charge. It's a voluntary program. We would never force ourselves onto another landowner's property. We know how important that is. But if people are interested in that, we can set up that program. And all of you know as a groundwater district how important monitoring water levels in a well can be. We want to be able to track any changes to help us better manage both the well field and also for the well owner to manage their wells also. That data would absolutely be shared. There's not anything that we want to keep secret. We want to share it with everybody. We want to be transparent about it. Data can be shared with the groundwater control district with the well owner's consent. But we would absolutely, and we are willing to do that. We currently do this in Nueces County. We do it with a number of entities and ranch owners and well owners. With that, I want to appeal to the board to reconsider any moratorium. The water is important. It's important to San Patricio County. We feel strongly we are going about this in a responsible manner to take into consideration all the other well owners and landowners in San Patricio County. Thank you.
Hey, Nick, I got a question. What is the depth of the wells that you're going to be pumping from?
So we're targeting about 800 feet.
800 feet and down, or 800 feet?
Okay, good point.
I
So,
want to know where you're going to be sucking the water from.
yeah, thank you very much. So total depth, I think plus or minus 800 feet. So the new wells we're designing, I'm going to say it could be about 500 feet to 800 feet. But I do want to mention, we've got the 2 wells that are on the property, but we haven't done any additional drilling. We haven't done any test hole drilling. So that design is not complete. Once we start drilling, we'll have a better idea of the formations. That includes, we'll do geophysical logging, we'll do water sampling testing, and from then we'll better identify our well drilling approach in the well design. So those are generals right now. Yeah.
Second question, you spoke of you're going to help out the surrounding areas if they have a well problem. Mathis, Beeville, Alice, whatever, whoever, that y'all entered this agreement on just recently. How you going if they a well busted that floor and Mathis went down, electrical strike, blew out the motor or whatever, how you going to get their water up there? You haven't got a pipeline, you going to trunk it?
Okay, so good question. So we have a number of different things going on. I think what you're referring to is our interlocal agreement with Alice, Mathis, and Beeville. What that agreement allows for is the sharing of resources. Our engineers can help those municipalities with the design of their water projects. We can help them with wastewater projects. Those agreements do not call for us to deliver water to them. It's a separate, we're sharing engineering resources, operational resources to help them with their projects as well. With the interlocal agreement with Sinton and St. Paul Water Supply Corporation, that calls for furnishing water to them. So they're different agreements.
2 different agreements.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so in a year and a half down the line, we still haven't got a rain, you don't have surface water, and Mathis well goes down, they're still sucking air. They're not going to have any fresh water. I was wondering if you're in the plans, you're going to interlock them as we have with the electrical systems throughout the state, put pipelines through each city, if things worse gets to worse.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's a good question. So the city of Mathis currently pulls water from Lake Corpus Christi. They, and all of you know, they have 2 permits to drill 2 additional wells. The city has worked with them. We're subleasing property to them so they can drill those wells, right? So that's going to be their backup supply. We're committed to help them. Currently, there's no plans right now to pipe water, treated water to Mathis or raw water for that matter. That's why we're working with Mathis and they're drilling their own backup wells.
Okay.
Thank you. I think next one up is Judge Krabs.
Well,
Oh, you did? Okay. You're listening? All right.
Sorry.
That's fine. Okay, the next one up, I see is Les
Is it Wessel?
Wesselman. Okay.
Yes.
Between my eyesight and your writing, I'm not sure.
You should wear your glasses.
Members of the board, my name is Wes Holmstrom. I'm an attorney in Refugio. I represent the what we call the LI Ranch, commonly referred to locally as the O'Connor. And when you look at a map of the Evangeline, there's a big piece missing right in the middle. That's my client's property. I'm also a citizen of Portland, so I got a personal concern in that regard. But here today on behalf of the LI, as you know, Mr. Zanoni and Mr. Winkleman discussed. It's a regional issue, and my clients appreciate that. We appreciate that presently, the regional supplier is the city of Corpus Christi, approximately 500,000 residents. They're using about 105 million gallons of water a day. Of that 105 million gallons of water, 70 million gallons comes through the Mary Roads pipeline. Their only water resources currently are surface water. Surface water historically is the cheapest. It rains, lake fills up, you provide that water. I think the city has had several factors that's put them in this position, right? We've had industrial growth, we've had a historic drought, and we've had no other resources. Nothing else got developed. We appreciate that. We appreciate that there's got to be alternatives and other resources. It's very clear in Texas law, as your counsel, as Mr. McCarthy explained, that landowners own the rights to their groundwater. We have the right to drill wells to develop our groundwater, subject to your rules. A moratorium could be construed as a taking of our ability to develop water. Just like the Evangeline wants to develop their water, my clients want to develop our water. We want to potentially sell the water to, whether it be San Patricio County, industry, or Corpus. We have that vested right and have to be able to develop that right. Moratorium restricts our ability to do so. In the same lens, our agenda number 5, which is next, I'm going to speak on it real quick. That's what your rules are for, is to protect my clients and allow us to develop our resource, just as the Evangeline develops their resource. We have a lot of discussions about what are you going to do about Sinton, what are you going to do about Mathis. That's not your charge. Your charge is to protect the groundwater for the owners of the groundwater, which are the landowners. It's not the county's water, it's the landowner's water. We have the right to develop and export it subject to your rules. I think that's one of the things that gets missed in a lot of this public comment about why are you stealing San Patricio County's water for the benefit of Corpus? That's not the case. It's the landowner's water, and we have the right to access that water and develop it however we wish, so long as we're in line with your rules. So, thank you.
Thank you. Brian Williams, thank you.
Take a step back there. Comfortable hiding behind the desk. Groundwater Commission Board, appreciate the opportunity to come speak today. Brian Williams, I'm the general manager at San Patricio Municipal Water District, and I can't speak to the law, so I'll let y'all figure that out, what's lawful and what's not. But San Patricio Municipal Water District, we do get all of our water from the city of Corpus, as was mentioned earlier. We get raw and treated water, total of about 40 million gallons a day. It's probably 26 million gallons of raw, 14 million gallons of treated. I guess since our creation in the early 50s, we've been getting our water from the city of Corpus. I guess the groundwater resource has always been in the county. It hasn't necessarily been the water of choice with the availability of surface water. So we have been dependent on the city of Corpus for a lot of years. With regards to this item number 4, moratorium, can't speak whether or not it's legal, but assuming it's on the agenda, there's potential for it to be there. So I would just ask we are in the middle of a drought right now. The city of Corpus is attempting to move forward with producing some of the groundwater in the county. So if there is a moratorium, please minimize it as short as possible so that development of that resource can move forward to help get us through this drought. I guess I have heard that the possibility in the new set of rules, there may be some production limits. As most of us know, we have not produced a significant amount of groundwater in the county. I don't know that there's a lot of science that has been developed, modeling that can necessarily determine how the aquifer will react. So part of my thoughts are, let's, if we can, go ahead forward under the current production numbers. I think y'all have the ability to reduce those in the future. If you see some potential negative impacts on the aquifer, I think it would be better, let's attempt to go forward under the current rules and then adjust them later if necessary. But I guess back to San Patricio Municipal Water District, the people that we serve, I guess Odin, Taftport, McGregor, Ingleside, Aransas Pass, all the way out to Rockport. We're serving the industries on this side of the bay, Gulf Coast Growth Ventures, the Exxon plant, Occidental Chemical, Commerce. Our water keeps a lot of these operations moving forward, and our water is dependent on it coming from the city of Corpus Christi. So any actions by the board that are limiting the current rules, I'd say please minimize them if you can.
We have one more on the list. This is Charles Fox.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but I thought if I get 3 minutes, I might as well take 3 minutes, right? Came all the way here. I'm just your average citizen here in San Patricio County. I have a water well, and that's where my family lives. That's where I have many families. Parts of my family that live on water wells all over San Patricio County. And I hear everyone who, I understand, water. We all need it. You can't do anything without it. Farmers need it. I need it. We also understand that there's been a lot of misuse and a lot of kicking the can down the road from city leaders, from Nueces County, from San Patricio County. And all of a sudden we're here at this dire need all of a sudden that we need to get all this water. And we're running ahead as fast as we can to go ahead and get this water. I'm not opposed to finding other resources for water, desalination, all this other water, but groundwater at the rate that you're talking about doing, and everybody can give me every single number they want to, because one side's going to say, oh, it's fine. The other side's going to say, no, it's going to be salty. If you go ahead and start sucking that water down, and my family all of a sudden has brackish water coming into the house because no, we can't drink it anymore. Who's gonna fix that? Groundwater Conservation District Board. I've heard attorneys say that y'all don't have, some powers. I've heard people say, please help us because we need water for our 500,000 citizens. I understand that. But also, it's the San Patricio Conservation District to conserve the water in this area, and you do it responsibly. If we have to change rules, if we have to change limits, if we have to change something else, let's do it, and let's do it responsibly rather than just rush in and do it. I'm not opposed to helping, but also I don't want to see average citizens, their water wells, other farmers lose their water because of it.
Thank you. I don't see anybody else on the list for comments. We did. Yes, if you would.
Obviously, adopting a moratorium on accepting applications is a drastic step. And I've only had to do this with 3 or 4 clients over the years. It's never been litigated until, I always say, I'm right until the judge tells me I'm wrong. So if this gets litigated, I might find out that I was wrong. But I think that we have this ability in our general rulemaking authority. We have to be able to adopt rules. In order to adopt those rules reasonably, we have to do so before we have so many applications in the door that we have a problem. I had one client that I recommended adopt a moratorium, and before, as they started to process some new rules, they're going to adopt, as is this district considering, they're going to adopt production limitations for the first time ever. And that board decided that they wanted to delay that action for 30 days, so they tabled the moratorium until the next board meeting, and they had 64,000 acre-feet of permits walk in the door between those 2 meetings. So I do think that once you have an application in-house, you have something that's administratively complete and ready to process, there are statutory deadlines by which that action has to happen. And so we have to make a determination on whether it's administratively complete. We have to, once that's done, we have to move forward within a certain period of time to call the public hearing. And just to give you all an idea of what that process looks like, this district has operated on a shoestring budget until y'all recently voted to give it the tax authority, which we appreciate very much. It also has operated on very little controversy or conflict. People walk in, they request a drilling permit, they get a drilling permit. Then nobody protested, nobody has an argument about it, they're able to use that water. But that's because it's easy to issue a permit to produce water to use on your land for your purposes. Those are easy permits. The harder permits are when you're going to be using water for a very large area that may be remote from where you're producing it. It's even harder when it's a permit that you're wanting to sell to somebody someplace someday. This district has always taken the position that the 1.25 acre-foot per acre would be adequate. It's clear that if every single landowner in the county wanted their 1.25 acre feet, it would be terribly inadequate. And so at the same time, we have to recognize the people that have been producing over time and have historic use and have investment-backed expectations in the water that they've been producing. And those people, I think, have the best case to make to say, you've taken our property, you can tell us that we were producing 10 million gallons a year, and now we can only produce 5. And so, while that has worked well with the subsidence district in the Houston area, it's worked well without any litigation. So again, I can't tell you what a federal court would say if there was a takings case on that. I can tell you there's been one takings lawsuit filed in the state of Texas against a groundwater conservation district. That was Bragg versus the pecan farmers versus the Edwards Aquifer Authority. And they won. And they won because they were able to prove in court that the statutory requirement limiting them to only 2 acre-foot per acre on their home place orchard and denied them a permit by statute, not by district rule, but by statute, denied them a permit on their Harris orchard, impacted their pecan operations to the tune of $2.5 million. And they won that lawsuit. I don't believe we have any circumstances similar to that in this district, and I don't anticipate we'll ever have circumstances similar to that in this district. We'll see what arguments are made. We'll see what, as we move on. There's a lot of questions on dealing with the ownership of groundwater and takings and groundwater regulations that have never been litigated and therefore never answered. And in terms of adopting a moratorium, I believe it's the intent of this board to adopt it for as short a period as they possibly can, to get some rules proposed, to get them heard properly, and to get them adopted. I think that it would be irresponsible of this board to continue to accept applications while they're looking and trying to do these limitations. And by the way, in addition to the advancement projects permits for, you said 22 wells drilled to produce the 28,000 acre feet on the permit they already have, we have received 2 other applications for an additional roughly 24,000 acre feet of water that came in this week. So the gold rush is already happening. And so we'll have to see whether those are administratively complete and how we're going to proceed with it, and whether the board even adopts this moratorium. It is my legal opinion that you do have legal authority to adopt this moratorium. If this gets litigated, we might find out that I'm wrong about that, but my best guess is we'll have these rules adopted and the moratorium lifted before we ever get to court. But we'll see what happens. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the board about the moratorium and the legality.
I will make a comment that part of the goal of this is to kind of take a breath. The rule changes, and I've read through them. There's nothing that would prevent anything from going forward. And we did anticipate it being a short period of time because we did get quite a bit of permit requests here just recently. We haven't had time to get through them. I think we need to take a little bit of a breath here. There won't be any major changes that will prevent anything going forward. The board.
Can we go into executive session?
We have it planned at the end. I guess we could hold this vote until the after executive session.
Okay, yes.
That would be my proposal, that we can consult, if that's okay. No. No, we have a proposal here that was part of our concern down the road, is that we want more study, we want more professional advice, meaning hydrology. We have a big challenge coming forward in 27 is to our budget and expenditures to monitor and all of those things. And we should be able to do so now that we have a base of funding to do just that. So, and I hear a motion. Do I need a motion to wait till after executive session?
Well, you could just suggest some tables and
Okay, let's do that. We'll table this until after executive session for consult. Next item on the agenda. Okay, we'll reconvene at 10:16 from executive session. We have 2 items on the agenda to resolve. First off, I would say, ask for a motion on the budget for 26.
Motion to approve the budget as presented, with including an additional $2,000 to office supplies.
Do I hear a second? Matt, seconds. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. The next order of business, I need a motion to approve a moratorium on permitting. Who's making the motion?
If we said the motion, we should adopt the resolution.
Okay.
Other than, I just moving it on.
Well, say it then, go ahead.
Like, give it to me to read.
Okay. Do you need, just ask for a motion to approve the resolution as presented? Okay, so moved. Second? Matt? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? No motion, no vote. Motion passed.
Moratorium has been approved.
We did that.
Vote on.
Matt did.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
there has not been a resolution presented at any point during this meeting. Is the board going to present a resolution to the public to hear what the moratorium is and then consider passing it?
Well, now they're having a discussion because.
I'm not gonna read this word for word, but I'll tell you that the main, the action items, there's all items. One, it directs the district through the general manager to cease all activities related to accepting administratively complete applications for the new non-exempt building, operating, and transport permits, and amendments to increase non-exempt operating and transport permits. It directs the general manager to continue to accept, review, and process those applications as already received. Directs the general manager to update the board regularly during the term of this suspension regarding the processing of any of those accepted applications, and that states that the board intends that this suspension processing only applies to applications received, only applies to administratively complete applications received on or after the effective date of this resolution, which is today, and directs the general manager to lift the suspension and processing of those applications as soon as the rule amendments are adopted, finally adopted by the board. So we're looking at a period of maybe 2 months, depending on how long it takes us to get these rules adopted. But the hard copy of this will be made available today. Or, I mean, a final copy, signed copy of this will be made available today.
On the website,
On the website.
Get that up on the website today, on Monday.
By Monday. Like I said earlier, I think this is as much as anything to give us a breather. We've got a lot of permits come across all at one time. And I don't think it's not going to prevent anything moving forward. It just gives us a breather and time to work on it, make sure everything's according to the new rules as they're adopted. And that should be here in date. We said it was the 16th of January. We hope if everything goes correctly. And then we can go forward. Correct?